Are electric cars bad for the environment? On the surface, it seems preposterous. The idea that a battery-powered car, which runs completely emissions-free, could have a more negative impact on the environment than one that's constantly pumping carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the environment. But the truth is, of course, a lot deeper than that. Though the EV may be running clean as it carries you on your commute, the electricity it powers it has to come from somewhere. That, critics say, is the root of the problem. Many areas of the world still get the vast majority of their electricity from sources like coal or natural gas, resulting in significant CO2 emissions. Do the math, those critics say, and you'll see EVs aren't any better than a car with an internal combustion engine. True? Before we start with the numbers, let me set a few ground rules. First, all the math here is based on motoring within the good old US of A. Why? We're lucky to be able to draw on a wealth of information and calculators gathered by the Environmental Protection Agency to determine the environmental impact of what we drive. That doesn't mean our findings here aren't applicable elsewhere in the world, but you may need to skew the numbers this way or that depending on your region's mix of renewables for energy generation. What cars specifically? On the EV side, the decision is an easy one. Tesla's Model 3. It's the most popular, or at least the best-selling EV in the world. On the gas-powered side, finding a direct comparison can be a little tricky, but I decided to go with the BMW M340 iX Drive. It's priced comparably to the Tesla, has about the same power, 382 horsepower to be exact, and has all-wheel drive to boot. All light-duty cars and trucks sold in the United States must meet the Federal Motor Light-Duty standards. To meet these standards, vehicles must undergo an extensive, long-established testing process regardless of whether the vehicle operates on gasoline or electricity. Separately, EV battery packs must meet their testing standards. Moreover, EVs are designed with additional safety features to shut down the electrical system when they detect a collision or short circuit. The fundamental difference between conventional thermal cars and electric cars has to do with the process of transforming the potential stored energy into kinetic movement energy. In thermal cars, this energy is stored in a chemical form and is released through a chemical reaction inside the engine. On the other hand, despite also having chemically stored energy, electric cars release it electrochemically without any kind of combustion, thanks to lithium-ion batteries. This means that there is no fuel being burned and therefore no air pollution through CO2 happening while driving. They are also more efficient than fossil cars. So is this a clear win for the electric movement? Are electric cars and vehicles greener? Not necessarily. Or better said, not always. If the source of energy to power these cars don't come from solar panels, wind turbines, or even nuclear or hydroelectric, their CO2 emissions will be much higher. For instance, if the electricity used to charge cars comes from the burning of fossil fuels, it doesn't matter if the EC is not polluting while being driven, as this pollution was already released in some distant power plant. This means that if you're driving an electric car in the US, where fossil fuels accounted for 62.7% of the country's energy production in 2017, you'll probably release more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than if you're driving it in Iceland, which runs almost entirely on hydro, geothermal, and solar energy. As for the UE28, forecasts are encouraging, being expected that the EU grid mix will come down from 300 gram carbon dioxide per kilometer in 2015 to 200 gram carbon dioxide per kilometer in 2030 and 80 gram carbon dioxide per kilometer in 2050. But let's assume a scenario where cars are 100% powered with renewable or clean energy. The cycle of making a car starts with raw materials being extracted, refined, transported, and manufactured into several components that will be assembled to produce the car itself. This process is very much the same in both conventional and electric cars. Nevertheless, at the end of the manufacturing process, electric cars are the ones generating more carbon emissions according to the Union of Concerned Scientists. Why is this? Because electric cars store energy in large batteries that have high environmental costs. This happens because these batteries are made of rare earth elements, REE, like lithium, nickel, cobalt, or graphite that only exist beneath the surface of the Earth and therefore depend on mining activities with very polluting processes. That's why asking whether electric cars are greener or not does come with an easy answer. Okay guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you at the next one.